All right, Doc Rivers, breaking news. As we've all known that Doc Rivers has signed with the Philadelphia 76ers to be their new head coach alongside to cover with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons. Now, this is going to be a 5-year deal for Doc Rivers and the crew. He did have 2 more years left of his contract with the Clippers, so he's going to get the bag. And now he's jumping into moving from Los Angeles to Philadelphia. My initial thoughts when it comes to it. I thought it was an okay signing. I didn't think it was anything too great for both parties. I think for Doc Rivers initially, he started off with the Orlando Magic. He had Tracy McGrady and the crew. Then he went over to Boston. He finally got the big 3 and won a championship. Then after that, he went to the Los Angeles Clippers. He joined with the CP3 Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan era. Of course, they never made it out of the conference finals. They never made it there. And then they brought in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard for 1 season. And again, they got bounced in the second round. So now if you're Doc Rivers, you're a free agent. You can go anywhere. He elected to choose to go to the Sixers over the Houston Rockets. You can probably see with the Rockets, it's going to be too much of a headache with Russell Westbrook and James Harden. It's in the Western Conference. And I probably thought Doc Rivers probably thought that the Houston Rockets with Harden and the crew, that their peak of winning champion or trying to be a championship contender was out the window. And Doc Rivers, he gravitates towards stars and young stars. So Sixers got around a good 5 years until Joel Embiid and Simmons could leave in free agency, if that's the case. It's a good timeline when it came to both parties. Personally for me, I wanted pretty much Brett Brown to get fired, and he did, which was a great part for Elton Brand to do. But I wanted the Philadelphia 76ers to pretty much pick up like a Kenny Atkinson, an offensive head coach who knows how to run the X's and O's in different plays and game plans to pretty much have the different role players and star players on a team that can fit an offensive system. Doc Rivers has never been that type of coach. He's more of a football coach, a defensive-minded coordinator to where he'll just go motivate you, he'll scream at you. Pretty much based off his brand name, he'll get the respect. But we saw with the Clippers, they pretty much were playing street ball out there offensively. He just relied on Kawhi Leonard and Paul George and then Lou Will to pretty much take on the offensive side. But with Doc Rivers now, it is what it is. I actually think it's a good pairing with him and Joel Embiid. I'm unsure about him and Ben Simmons. Now, I've stated Ben Simmons needs to pretty much move away from the point guard spot, and he needs to move down to the small forward position or the power forward, to pretty much to where I just don't like when Ben Simmons runs the offense. It's very stagnant. It's very predictable, and Ben Simmons always just walks up with the ball, and there's no offensive flow when it comes to the Sixers. So they need to bring in some offensive coordinators. They need to bring in an offensive system they can implement. Not with Doc Rivers, but based on their assistant coaches. But it is what it is. I think it'll be good giving Joel Embiid more in the post and on the block. I think Rivers will pretty much let that happen for Joel Embiid to pretty much elevate his stats in the half-court set. Overall for the Sixers, I never expected them in the Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons era to win a championship. I thought their peak would be to pretty much get 1 finals appearance. I think that could still be the case. Now that would probably have to be in 2022 or 2023. I expect the 76ers to keep Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons for pretty much the remaining 3 to 4 years. I doubt that they'll trade either or. I think if someone were to leave, it would have to be in free agency. But overall, I think with Doc Rivers on his side, yeah, good for him. He got the bag, he got the contract, he got a good young team, so there's not going to be high expectations yet. I think in his 3rd year, that's when, there'll be more pressure on Doc Rivers if they haven't won or went to a finals. But I think for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, it's not the best for their progress or their growth in their career, so they'll have to figure out themselves. But this pretty much just gives a good brand name to the Philadelphia 76ers. They had Brett Brown, who no one really respected. So with Doc Rivers being on the Sixers, there's going to be more of a high demand for them. Nothing too crazy about. I think that had to be done with for his decision, either the Rockets or the Sixers. So it is what it is. It's cool with Joel Embiid didn't make a tweet here that he did welcome Doc Rivers to the crew. He's excited for the future and what they're building there, to trust the process. So I think it'd be kind of cool, but nothing too much. I don't expect the Sixers to win a championship. I think they can get 1 finals appearance, but that's that. And hopefully there's no more 3-1 leads. that they'll be able to blow. So let's see.